In the digital twilight of the global command center, the world is rendered not in borders, but in real-time data. A single pulsing red icon begins to blink. This is not an alarm, designed for sudden kinetic threats.
There's something cool there.
This node is one of hundreds forming the unseen backbone of Western strategic communications and global finance. It didn't fail. It registered no seismic anomaly or voltage spike. In its final microsecond, it transmitted a compressed burst of acoustic data.
This data was so anomalous, so alien to terabytes of oceanic noise, it bypassed lower-level AI filters entirely.
It triggered an alert at the 23rd Operations Squadron, custodians of deep ocean sensor grids.
The sound was not familiar.
It was a low, resonant grinding, like industrial machinery, followed by a sharp, high-energy pulse that overloaded the hydrophone.
Within 3 minutes, the data packet, flagged Cosmic Abyss, was on screens at the Pentagon, Northwood, and NORAD.
The implications were chillingly clear. 99% of intercontinental communication
Travels through vulnerable fiber optic cables on the ocean floor. Someone just demonstrated the capability to surgically sever that lifeline.
The silent war, the shadow conflict waged in the deep ocean, had just become lethally audible. A P-8A Poseidon.
Wheels lifted off the tarmac at Keflavik, Iceland. It was already banking hard south on a full-spectrum warfare hunt. Simultaneously, encrypted orders were relayed via VLF transmission to the USS Hyman Rickover, a Block 5 Virginia-class submarine.
Its new mission: proceed at flank speed to the Atlas North Junction coordinates, rig for silent running, and identify the aggressor.
Aye, Captain.
This was not a search for a rogue submarine. It was a hunt for a new predator operating on the seabed.
The prime suspect was not the conventional Russian Navy, but its shadowy subordinate, GUGE, the main directorate of deep-sea research.
Yugi operates as a fleet within a fleet, answering directly to the High Command for clandestine seabed missions.
Its flagship, the Yantar, masquerades as a research vessel, but its tracks over known cable routes are no secret. The Yantar is bristling with advanced sonar, deploying ROVs and
But Gugi's true teeth are its special mission nuclear submarines. The Belgorod, a modified Oscar II, is the world's longest. It's not just a carrier for the Poseidon strategic torpedo, but a clandestine mothership for the AS-31 Losharik.
The Losharik is a vessel of strategic terror for NATO planners, composed of interconnected titanium spheres in a hull.
It operates at depths exceeding 2,000 meters, far below the crush depth of any NATO attack submarine.
Its mission is not combat, but special operations. Equipped with manipulator arms, drills, and sensor tapping gear, it interacts
with, disable or destroy seabed infrastructure. The acoustic signature was consistent with the Losharik deploying a new, unknown tool.
This was something far more aggressive than a simple cable cutter. This act of aggression did not occur in vacuum. Focused on kinetic denial, the People's Republic of China executed a more insidious strategy, its underwater Great Wall. The plan's ambitions are global. State-backed companies are laying new subsea cables, like the Peace Cable connecting continents. This creates a parallel data infrastructure. Simultaneously, Chinese research vessels are meticulously mapping the Pacific seabed, mirroring
U.S. military and civilian cables. The strategy is twofold: data dominance and data denial. Plan UUV are deployed from ships and submarines, not just for reconnaissance, but for passive tapping or laying their own dark fiber. This dark fiber acts as a distributed sensor, using a technology known as Distributed Acoustic Sensing, or DAS. By pulsing a laser and reading the backscatter, the cable becomes a hydrophone array, detecting any submarine or ship.
The nation that controls the seabed sensor grid effectively controls the ocean. The West is scrambling to maintain dominance. The USS Hyman Rickover represents the pinnacle of this effort. The Block 5 Virginia class is an underwater mothership.
Its new Virginia payload module contains 4 large tubes that launch and recover extra-large unmanned undersea vehicles crib.
Specifically, the Boeing-built Orca, a paradigm shift. It conducts persistent surveillance, deploys sensor mines, or, in a conflict, can autonomously prosecute targets on its own. The conflict has evolved from cat and mouse to a complex, multi-domain battle of proxies, sensors, and critical data cables.
That fuel the modern world. The Rickover's mission: find the culprit and assert American dominance in this new domain.
Arriving at the target coordinates 22 hours later, the Rickover slowed, its hull groaning as it descended.
At 500 meters, it was deep in the silent realm, running on batteries, its reactor pumps silent.
The sonar chief, headset tight, filtered the noise. The P-8 high above dropped sonobuoys, detecting only distant biologicals.
And the noise of a cargo superhighway. The aggressor was long gone. The commander authorized launching a tethered ROV.
The nimble machine detached and descended the final 1,000 meters. Its powerful lights cut through the abyssal silt.
The ROV's high-definition camera feed, relayed to the submarine's fire control center, showed what was left of the cable. The work of a trawler's grapnel, which leaves a ragged break. It was not a conventional explosive, showing a crater.
The cable, a bundle of fiber optics and power lines in steel armoring, was severed with surgical precision. The ends were not cut, they were melted. The steel armor was warped, the copper fused, the fiber optics vaporized.
DARPA metallurgists concluded it was intense, localized energy, a plasma torch or a Seabed deployed directed energy weapon.
This was a technological leap. A silent, deniable, and terrifying.
The geopolitical implications were severe. This was a hybrid warfare attack, existing in the gray zone below Article 5.
An attack on a commercial cable is legally ambiguous. There was no smoking gun, no torpedo fragment, no identifiable wreckage.
Russia denied involvement, suggesting a rare seismic event or deep-sea landslide. But the Yantar, which had been loitering
near the Porcupine Abyssal Plain, had gone dark. Its AIS transponder was offline for the 72-hour attack window.
Economic fallout was contained as data rerouted, but the vulnerability was exposed. Insurance premiums for subsea infrastructure skyrocketed. Financial institutions in New York and London, reliant on high-frequency trading algorithms, held emergency planning sessions.
The military response was massive but unseen. Operation Silent Trident,
including the Astute class and French Suffren, moved into the North Atlantic. Their orders: sanitize cable corridors and hunt
seabed assets, and aggressively shadow any GUGI-affiliated vessel. The new GIU gap was no longer a surface problem.
It was now a three-dimensional battle space extending to the seabed. A tense standoff began.
Shadowing the civilian cable-laying ship, the USS Hyman Rickover moved to intercept. For 48 hours, the two predators stalked.
Their sonars were on passive, listening for the slightest sound, aware a single torpedo would ignite a full-scale war.
The Rickover's crew, in their recycled air, felt the pressure mount. This was the Cold War reborn, but deeper.
Known involving technologies that blurred the line between reconnaissance and attack. The Rickover deployed its Orca XL UUVs.
These autonomous hounds moved ahead, actively pinging, an aggressive move to force the Akula to react and reveal itself.
The Russian submarine, unwilling to escalate, broke contact and retreated north. The cable was
The melted cable was the strategic wake-up call. Naval development shifted overnight. The U.S. Navy's SSN program,
the next generation attack submarine, was rescoped. Less a brawler, more an underwater aircraft carrier, a mothership for swarms. These UUVs would form a persistent, forward-deployed sensor and weapons screen, securing vast swaths of the seabed. This new doctrine relies heavily on artificial intelligence. The ocean is a data stream of overwhelming noise, requiring sifting.
Through petabytes of data, Machine learning algorithms must detect the faintest anomaly. This has triggered an acoustic cyber war.
These drones emit false signature, whales, geological shifts, or even friendly NATO submarines.
While this high-stakes duel escalated in the Atlantic, the Chinese strategy unfolded. A U.S. reconnaissance satellite monitored the Pacific.
It noted Chinese research ships in precise, grid-like patterns over cables connecting Guam, Japan, and the U.S. West Coast.
They were not cutting or tapping. They were mapping, creating a detailed, three-dimensional sonar map of the entire seabed.
This was the preparatory phase of the battlefield. In a future crisis, the ability to sever these data links
at a time of their choosing would be a devastating opening salvo. They are planning to win an information battle. The defense industry is racing to respond. DARPA is fast-tracking the Seabed Sentinels program in conjunction with engineers.
This involves developing smart cables with integrator sensors that can not only detect tampering, but also fight back.
Future cables might have self-healing bundles or discharge a high-voltage pulse, destroying any unauthorized ROV that interfaces.
Other programs are focused on quantum sensing. These developmental magnetometers are theoretically sensitive enough to detect magnetic anomalies.
Created by a submarine's hull, potentially rendering the acoustic stealth of even the quietest submarines completely obsolete.
The long-term strategic game is clear. Future global power rests not on controlling land, but on controlling data flows.
And the infrastructure that carries them. The final, decisive front is not air, land.
In the Barents Sea, a new Gugi vessel, the academic Aggressor, sits over a deep ocean trench.
It is lowering a large, cylindrical object to the seafloor. An autonomous, seabed-deployed It settles into the silt, its passive sonar arrays unfolding. It is a dormant arsenal of mini torpedoes, waiting. It is aimed directly at the new NATO sensor net defending the Atlantic cable routes. Our world, our entire digital civilization, is balanced on cables as thin as a human hair, stretched across a dark, unseen, and silent battlefield.
The sovereignty of the seabed is the single most important strategic objective. The next world war will not be televised.
It will be felt when the banks close, communications fail, and the screens, one by one, go completely dark.